Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm gonna be here in my office chatting with you today. I don't know if I just woke up and chose grumpiness, but I'm gonna talk about really my biggest gripes with eBay, the things that are just really hard for me. I mean, I love eBay. It's clearly made me a lot of money. It's made a lot of people a lot of money. It's a great platform to sell on, but there's just some really big issues that I can't for the life of me understand why they're not resolved or why they're not just a little bit better. And in addition to that, I do want to talk about my ways of getting around them or dealing with these issues in my business, stay afloat and become a little less frustrated. But first, let me introduce our sponsor. Our sponsor is Skillshare. Thank you, Skillshare, for sponsoring this video. Skillshare is an online learning community where you can choose from thousands of different classes. Anything that you want to learn, you can just go ahead and watch and join a class. I love Skillshare personally because I can watch it while I'm listing. I can watch some of the classes that I've signed up for. One of which is a print-on-demand class, e-commerce for artists. I love drawing on my iPad and using Procreate, so I've been working on getting some designs out there for print-on-demand. It's really, really inexpensive to do for the amount of value and education that you're getting and giving yourself. So I've really enjoyed Skillshare for that reason, and the first 1,000 people that click the link in my description and sign up will get a free full month of Skillshare premium membership. So there's no risk to you at all. You can sign up, see if you like it, and I really think that you will. I've certainly enjoyed it myself. Okay, let's get into it. My first gripe is and you guys know this if you've been following me, I really don't like the item not as described issue. It is beyond frustrating. When a buyer returns something and claims it was defective, not working, inauthentic, not as described in any way, damaged, whatever it may be, anything really other than doesn't fit or didn't like it, that's an item not as described. And if you get too many of those, and really this can happen really fast, if you get too many of those, you suddenly have a 5% fee slapped onto every single thing that you sell until that rate is fixed. That includes shipping, so 5% of everything. That is huge for me. This happened to me a couple years ago. It was really frustrating. I kept calling eBay trying to get it fixed because it wasn't my fault. That's the problem. That's kind of an issue that really bothers me. Even if it's not the seller's fault, let's say someone claims something is inauthentic and it's not, and then they submit a return and then they don't even return it. That still counts against you as an item not as described. That's happened to me a few times. They'll complain about something, I'll get an INAD, they don't even end up returning it, the return is closed, and I still have the defect on my account. And there's literally no way to remove it. I have yet to hear of anybody who has successfully removed an INAD after calling customer service, after explaining the situation. They still won't remove it. The biggest one really is does not match description or photos. I see that a lot on my personal account. And it's annoying because I take clear photos, I take measurements. They'll often claim does not match description or photos and then just say when they describe why they're returning it, it didn't fit. And I'm just like, why didn't you just say it didn't fit? But that's a defect, whereas doesn't fit isn't. That can knock you into INAD territory really quickly, and all you have to do is just sell more to then get your defect rate back to where it should be. eBay takes an average of other sellers and sees where their defects are, and you are fitted into that average whether yours are high or whether yours are low compared to others. You can find these details in your performance tab under service metrics. If you veer into 1% of your sales having this defect, it gets you really close to the very high territory. It's really annoying. And I think the hardest part really is just the fact that there's no way to get these off. Now, one thing that I do that has helped tremendously is I include a note with every single thing I sell that basically explains to the buyer, I offer completely free returns for any reason, and I do let them know that their return reason affects me as a seller and that they will still get their free return no matter what they pick. If something's not fit right or if something they just didn't like it, they will still get a fully free return. By explaining to the buyer that, number one, their return reason does affect me, and number two, that I do offer free returns anyway, it has brought my INAD rate down a lot. Because I think a lot of people assume this is like Amazon, and they just want the free return. They click, it's defective, they get that free shipping label, and they move on, when really, this affects each of us individually as sellers. I wish eBay would just get rid of this. I wish if you offered free returns that this was just not a non-issue. If they wanted more people to participate in free returns, I think they should just make INADs not applicable for people who offer free returns, or have it be a higher rate or have it be different. I don't know. They want more people to opt into free returns. why not give that incentive for them to do it? Just my 2 cents, but that is something that really, really annoys me. Again, I do get around it by providing information to the buyer that, hey, this does affect me and my rate has gone way, way down, but that is just something to keep in mind. It's just kind of frustrating. Another gripe I have is that the seller defect rate is 0.5%, and that's really, really narrow. So if you cancel orders or transactions because you're out of stock or you can't find it or it's damaged or for whatever reason, that is super detrimental, will knock you out of top rated status really, really quickly, and it's 0.5%. That is so, so narrow. So you can maybe cancel 1 or 2 orders like every 6 months, maybe every year. You just have to try your very best not to cancel any orders ever, because after 1 or 2, if you do 1 or 2 in like a month, 2-month period, it could very well knock you out of top rated. I kind of wish that eBay had a little bit more leniency here, because we are all sellers and we all make mistakes, and occasionally we have to cancel an order, and that just happens. That's how eBay runs. And what I have found is sometimes I just have to send either a different size or communicate to the buyer that, hey, I'm really sorry, but I have another item that I could send instead. Are you okay with that, or do you want me to cancel? And then if they just request that they want to cancel, then I could just select that the reason I'm canceling the order is because the buyer asked me to. You kind of just have to jump through these hoops to get the buyer to say that they want you to cancel, because if you just cancel on your own, it can be super detrimental. So that is one way around it. Just contact the buyer and let them know, or send them a different size, or ask if you can send a different size or something in a different color, and maybe that can help mitigate that, and they'll ask to cancel, and that helps you with your defect rate. But if not, it can be really tricky. So just something to keep in mind, and again, something that's really annoying to me. And then the last one is probably my biggest one. This is the biggest one, and that I have honestly been coming up against more in the last 6 months than I think I ever have before on eBay, and that is buyer non-payment. I don't know why this is. Is it because they've shifted to managed payments? People are more confused about having to pay, and they're not using PayPal. Is that an issue? Is it because I've shifted some of what I'm selling, and now I'm selling more new items, and you get a lot of worse buyers that way? Like, I don't know. It's been really perplexing, really frustrating, to the point where at all times I have at least 5 or 6 non-paying buyers that I'm just waiting out at all times. It's gotten to the point where when something sells, I'm in my head already going, is the buyer even gonna pay? And I give myself like maybe there's like a 30% chance they just won't. At this point, I don't know if that's like just I'm making up numbers and this is how it feels, I guess, how often buyers pay, but like, it's really, to me, it feels like at least a third aren't paying. It goes into the abyss until I can then cancel the order a few days later because the buyer didn't pay, and put it back in my store and make it active again. Especially with international buyers, this happens a lot, and with high-end items. You get a ton of cancellations. To the point where if something is high-end or over a certain amount of money, I do not accept offers. I only have it as a buy it now, immediate payment required, because it got so bad. I think I got to a point where I had relisted an item 6 times because every buyer before that was a non-paying buyer, and it gets really, really frustrating. Now, my way around it is every single item that I have in my store is a multi-quantity listing, where I can just easily go in, and if I have a sense that the buyer is not going to pay, I can make that listing active again by simply changing the quantity from 0 to 1. At the same time too, I can turn off best offer and have buy it now with immediate payment required at a fixed price, so that the buyer can't just buy and not pay. So that is one way. And this is something that I learned from Glenn and Ken when they were on my channel a couple weeks ago. If a buyer messages them and says, hey, will you accept this offer on this item because you have to have a fixed price and you don't have best offer on, what they will do is say to the buyer, hey, okay, I will lower it to this price in my store. That item itself will be lowered to your asking price, and it is now your responsibility to go buy it and be the first one to buy it. So if you hurry, you will get it at that price. But what's nice about that is that every other watcher on that item will be alerted that the price has dropped, and it creates a sense of urgency for the person that messaged you. And this has worked for me. I did this with a jersey that I sold a couple weeks ago. The buyer asked me, hey, will you take this offer? I said, absolutely. And I'll lower the price on the listing if you go snatch it up, it's yours. And it worked out great. They bought it, immediate payment, and there was no problem. So that is a way around it. But again, like the amount of bad buyers that I've had, the amount of non-payment, and again, the messages that they'll send me. So these bad buyers will not only not pay, but then message me a bunch saying, you need to bring down shipping, or you need to change the value on the international import form or whatever so that I don't pay as much with customs, or why is my shipping so high internationally? And I'll have to just message back and explain that is the fee to ship internationally. It is more expensive. That's why you're being charged extra. Or a lot of times too, hey, I'll accept your offer, and then they don't pay. or you send an offer, you accept an offer, lower the price, and then they message back, actually, I want this including free shipping, or, you know, something crazy. And that's kind of annoying. But yeah, again, the non-payment is a real issue. And I know it's an issue for a lot of people, and there are ways around it, like I said, but it's gotten to the point where I'm even wondering if it's worth it to include best offer. Now, best offer does get me more sales, and I am grateful for that, but I understand a lot better now why people out there don't do best offer, because the non-payment issue, it's just honestly disheartening. It's really frustrating to wonder if you get that ka-ching on your phone and are they actually going to pay? And also, really, even if they do pay, they can wait days and days to pay. Sometimes I've had to wait 5 days for a buyer to finally pay. And it's frustrating. And then what do I usually get along with the late payment? A message about something else. Or a message, ironically, I will get a message 5 days later saying, okay, I can pay today, you better ship today. And it's like, okay, you waited 5 days to pay me, but sure, I'll ship immediately for you, you know. It's just kind of frustrating. Again, I do pride myself on my channel on being positive and keeping it positive. And I am so grateful for all of the things eBay has given me and my family. I mean, the list goes on. I've had many videos praising the wonderful things about eBay. These are just a few things that I think I and many other sellers share with our frustrations. Like I said, there's ways around each of them. And so I hope I was able to share some of those things with you, ways to kind of get around how frustrating these pain points can be. But I am curious to see if eBay tries to fix these things, or if they try to make it a slightly less frustrating experience for sellers. But also, I understand on the same token, they have to make it a non-frustrating experience for the buyers. So the buyers have their own issues too with bad sellers. So I get that. That was one of the things I learned at eBay Open a couple years ago. Just as much as eBay has to protect bad buyers from bad sellers, they have to protect bad sellers from bad buyers. And unfortunately, that does happen. I like that they're moving in the direction of authenticity. I think that's a really good move. They're doing it now for purses. They do it for shoes. They're building seller trust, which is really great. And that's something that we need as a platform, as sellers on that platform. But I just wish that they would build buyer trust as well. Anyway, those are my thoughts on that. I hope that this video wasn't too negative for you guys. I like that sometimes we can just share our, you know, frustration points, and I do like to stay positive. I'm not going to stop selling on eBay anytime soon. These are just things that I wish would get fixed. So anyway, thanks so much for tuning in, you guys. I hope I was able to give a few tips. If any of these things frustrate you, you can let me know in the comments down below. Hopefully some of my tips were able to help you mitigate some of these frustration points. I do think they're solvable. I think they're fixable. I don't think they are detrimental, but are they frustrating? Yeah. And I just want you guys to know that I am with you. If you're frustrated too with some of these things, I'm totally on your side and I get it. But despite all of the things that might frustrate you, eBay really is a great place to sell. And I do find the most sales and the most traffic and the most volume comes from this platform. So all I have to say, I will end with eBay is a great platform to sell on. I don't plan on changing that anytime soon. I just hope that they continue to work with sellers and fix some of these issues that have caused us the most frustration since each of us started selling on eBay. So thanks again for joining me, you guys. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. It helps me a lot. And you can subscribe to my channel for all kinds of eBay and reselling updates, ways I run my business, tips and tricks along the way as I do it as a soon-to-be mom of 3. Thanks again, you guys. I appreciate every single one of you. Take care, and I will catch you next time.